12:06, Skip was trying to pull his arm out of the drywall. Because I was wrong. Earlier today, I put on Twitter, breaking news, Skip Bayless has lost a dinner bet to Rob Parker. You guys did not have a dinner bet on this?
I was smart enough not to bet a dinner on this. I won my 2 season baseball bets with Rob Parker.
Wow. All right.
But I give him credit, and we need to let him have his moment.
Come on and go, Rob. Let's bring in Rob Schott. Rob, congratulations. You said back in April when the Red Sox were 2-10, after you picked them to make the playoffs, you said, I'm jumping off the bandwagon. They're not going to make it. Congratulations. You were right.
Well, thank you very much. Finally, I do get one, and it's a big one. I just never believed that they had enough pitching long-term. And Skip and I talked about the pitching. That's why we were the only 2 guys, basically, who didn't pick them to win a division. And also, I just didn't like the mix. No team in baseball history that's lost the first 9 games has ever made the playoffs, and it holds true right here again.
Yeah, that's true. And I remember you saying very pointedly that this team, there was something missing chemistry-wise. And I think in the end, a lot of Red Sox fans would agree.
May I just say to my friend Rob Parker, that last night, Rob, you were the luckiest man in the history of the world. You hit a $1 trillion to 1 lottery, because you know and I know that wrong about the 8th inning of the Yankee game, you just thought you were so cooked and so out of it.
Did you notice how the stream of text messages stopped?
No, mine started.
What was they were nowhere to be. At 10 o'clock, 10:30, Rob was conspicuously absent, and then at 12:05, I got a double wow from Rob.
Yeah, so fire away, Jay.
All right, let's start here. We're gonna try to figure out who is most responsible for the Rays waking up this morning, getting ready for the postseason. Is it the Rays themselves? Some credit should be given to them. They did win a lot of games down the stretch. Is it the Red Sox most responsible for the Rays because they collapsed, or is it perhaps the New York Yankees? Who gets the most responsibility here? Go, Rob.
I'm going to start. It has to be the Red Sox, just because the numbers are so ugly. And Skip, you got to admit, when you don't win back-to-back games for a month, a team with that talent, you have to blame yourself. All they had to do was win back-to-back games at some point, and this thing would have never happened. An ERA of over 7 in the month of September from their starters, and also a 7-20 record. Ridiculous. It's all on the Red Sox.
Hey, Rob, I'm going to agree with everything you just said, but you're missing the big picture here. The team most responsible is the team you love the most, your New York Yankees. You know it, and I know it, Rob. The Philadelphia Phillies went to Atlanta for 3 games and manned up, and your Yankees went for 3 games to Tampa and manned down. The Phillies started their starting pitchers. They played their starters last night all the way to the 13th inning. The Yankees started people I'd never heard of in games 1 and 3, and what's left of Bartolo in game 2. Last night, your Yankees jumped to a 7-0 lead, and then all the starters get subbed for guys who are all September call-ups. And what was that guy's name who got caught off third base? I can't even think of his name. Some call-up. Rob, it was shameful. Your Yankees have no pride, no character, played with no sportsmanship, while the Phillies sucked it up and said, let's go in here and play baseball.
But, Skip, you're not being fair, because the Phillies lost 8 games in a row where they were messing around with their lineup and playing guys. See, they had already clinched their situation where the Yankees still had to play up until that point. That's why there was a difference where the Phillies had lost 8 in a row, and they said, okay, it's playoff time. We got to get our regular guys back in and get them ready. The Yankees won all those games leading up to that point, and once they secured home field throughout the playoffs, then they started playing their younger guys. They did what was legit.
Rob, last night, the Phillies pitched Brad Lidge for an inning. Mariano Rivera never saw the field to play. He could have shut it down in the 9th inning. Do you think Dan Johnson would have hit a 2-strike home run off Mo? I don't.
All right, let's do this. You guys each have a horse in the race, and it's pretty clear by the way you've attacked the question. So let's bring in somebody who didn't care one way or another what happened. Can you actually side with Skip?
No, I can't blame the team that took care of business and go blameless with the team that did not. You know, the Red Sox, they controlled their own destiny. After going 2-10, they went 81-42. September 1st, Baseball Perspective says, guess what? This team has a 99.6 chance of making the postseason. All 45 ESPN baseball experts picked them to make the postseason. At the beginning of the season, weren't people calling this the best team ever or putting them. We heard a little bit of that. There's no question that this team they underperformed from the top all the way to the bottom. So I think Rob is 100% correct.
Well, you're obviously wrong.
Jamel, absolutely, Jamel.
Dismiss that. I'm with Steve Skip. It's 3 against 1.
Get in the way of a bad argument. Go ahead.
Just win a game.
Let me ask my friend Rob. Do you believe that your Yankees basically fixed those 3 games, blew those 3 games, just so the Red Sox wouldn't be in the playoffs?
I wouldn't say, Skip, they fixed them, but I believe in my heart that they didn't care if they won or lost. If they went out, they played,
well, they did win,
and they really didn't care.
Yeah, they did. Did they?
I mean, they almost could have.
They almost could have. Don't go there.
Phillies swept at Atlanta. Yankees got swept at the Trop, right?
Well,
okay. It's as simple as that.
It's not their responsibility to get the Red Sox
to the playoffs. Would you rather face the Red Sox in the playoffs or the Rays? You had a chance to knock the Rays out.
First of all, I'm not a Yankee fan. That's first of all. Number 2, you know what? The Red Sox, I know, who knows the Red Sox? You wouldn't face the Red Sox in the first round. So to me, the Red Sox aren't going to make it to the second round for the Yankees to face. So it wasn't like if the Yankees were going to face them in the first round, that would make sense. But the Red Sox would have never made it past the way to the second round.
There are 3 teams standing in the way right now of the Yankees making the World Series. One of them is the Rays. Don't you think that if the Yankees could supplant the Rays with the Red Sox, it would increase their chances? Because down the road, I mean, crazy things have happened. We saw that last night. It's not like the Red Sox had 0 chance in the divisional series. Could have happened.
No, I understand that point, but I don't think the Yankees, anytime you have a chance to bury your arch rival and have them not be able to compete in the playoffs, I think you like that scenario better. And now this is 2 years in a row the Red Sox have not made the playoffs. And let's go back to the postseason 2 years ago when they got swept by the Angels. This thing is a disaster right now, and I think the Yankees are happy that the Red Sox went home.
To that point, you're calling the Red Sox a disaster. There are a lot of fans that are looking around saying, how could this happen? This is Theo Epstein's team. You made that point in the first hour. Is it time, if you're the Boston Red Sox, that you need change, and it starts with Theo Epstein? Is it time for him to go? Rob?
I think it is. I think they need to clean house with Theo Epstein, and I also think that you should take a look at your manager as well, who couldn't somehow, Terry Francona couldn't get this team to win 2 games in a row in the final month. That's a bad sign. I would fire both Francona and I would fire Epstein. I would do it today.
Well, you know, the reality of sports is that those guys, the guy in charge of Epstein, Francona, they're easier to replace than the players themselves. And you're stuck with some really big contracts. But we just have to also take into account Theo Epstein's overall track record. Now, granted, he did lead them to their previous championships, which is why I think he does deserve an opportunity to make it right. However, I think he definitely has proven that when he was labeled a boy genius, that was a little bit immature. Look at the signings: Lackey, Crawford, Lugo, Drew. I mean, he's had a pretty awful track record when it comes to free agents. And I think...
And Jamel, I'm glad you said Lackey, because that's the one that has to hang around his neck and all the money to Crawford as well. But Lackey, what are you going to do? He has 3 years left and $48 million. What are you going to do with John Lackey?
Okay, the point here both of you have failed to address. I'm pretty sure Theo is going to be running out of town 1 step ahead of the law. I think he wants one of the Chicago jobs. I'm going to bet that he'll take the Cubs job, just see if he can go there and make history in Chicago. But I agree with what both of you said. He's bet a ton of money on the wrong horses. On Lackey, who was at the end of the line with the Angels. And then, to me, I said it earlier, Carl Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, proved to be not ready for prime time in Boston and on the New York stages.
All right, let's move it to another baseball topic from yesterday. Not